Welcome to After Dark Stories. Here we tell thrilling stories bound to make you come back for more. We upload new stories daily. Some are complete while others will be uploaded in episodes. But don't worry, all the multi-episode stories have their own playlist just for your convenience. If you like these stories, please give us a like and subscribe, as this will help us create better stories and videos. Now sit back, relax, and let's explore the unknown amidst the snowflakes. I pulled on my knitted hat and tightened my scarf against a cold wind that swept through the trees. The air was crisp, the kind that wakes you up and tingles on your skin. It was the perfect day for a hiking adventure. My friends, Liam, Sarah, and Ella, had been buzzing with excitement ever since we decided to spend the weekend exploring the snowy trails of Timber Ridge. "Come on, Charlie! Last one to the car's a rotten egg!" Ella yelled, her laughter bubbling up through the frosty air as she darted down the path. Ella had always been the spirited one in our group. At 25, with her curly hair bouncing like a spring, she tackled every experience with infectious enthusiasm. I rushed to catch up, my boots crunching into the fresh layer of snow that covered the ground. "You're not getting away that easily," I called back, a competitive grin spreading across my face. Liam, the group's self-proclaimed wilderness expert, was already waiting at the car, adjusting his wide-brimmed hat and checking our supplies. "Have you checked the map?" he inquired, glancing up from his phone with a mock-serious expression. "I thought you were supposed to be the navigator," I shot back, sticking my tongue out at him playfully. "Enough of this. Let's get going before you two start a snowball fight," Sarah chimed in, stepping out of the passenger seat with her backpack slung over one shoulder. Unlike the rest of us, she was calm and collected, our voice of reason. Her dark hair flowed behind her like a ribbon against the stark white background, and her deep brown eyes always seemed to sparkle, even in the dull winter glow. With our gear packed and a few snacks stowed away, we piled into the car, the warmth enveloping us like a comforting hug. The drive to Timber Ridge was filled with laughter, the upbeat songs on the radio barely masking our excited chatter about what lay ahead: emergency marshmallow rations, epic snowball fights, and maybe even a snap of the perfect winter selfie. After half an hour, we reached the trailhead. The snow-laden trees loomed tall and proud, their branches bowing under the weight of the white. I took a moment to breathe it all in: the pine-scented air, the whispering winds, and the tranquil beauty of winter's grip on the landscape. "Ready to conquer Timber Ridge?" Liam declared dramatically, striking a pose like he was leading an expedition to discover the unknown. "Yes. Let's make some memories," Ella replied as she took the lead down the pathway, her laughter echoing in the stillness. Initially, the trail was well marked, and our footsteps crunched in unison through the snow. The sunlight filtered through the trees, casting a magical glow over everything. I reveled in the joy of companionship, sharing jokes and stories as we hiked. "Remember when we got lost last summer?" And Sarah laughed, her voice ringing out. "We ended up at that random lake. And I was convinced that was the ocean," I chuckled, recalling how we had stumbled upon a beautiful lake instead of the intended camping spot. Liam, ever the storyteller, turned it into a grand tale of our misadventures, his voice exaggerated and animated, sending us into fits of laughter. "It's a rite of passage," he kept insisting, and there was so much truth in it. Our mishaps were what made our friendship strong, binding us closer with each misadventure. The sun climbed higher, and the trail became steeper. Each step felt invigorating, and the world around us grew more enchanting. It was a serene escape from the bustle of life, a tiny bubble where only our laughter and the sound of snow shifting underfoot existed. About an hour in, we reached a clearing. It opened up to a breathtaking view of the valley below, the trees standing like sentinels against the vastness of the white landscape. We dropped our bags and stood in awe. The fresh powder sparkled under the sun like a blanket of diamonds. "This is incredible," I whispered, my heart swelling. "Group picture," Ella demanded, pulling out her phone. We gathered close as we could, and threw our arms in the air, capturing our triumphant moment. Just as the shutter clicked, someone behind us yelled, "Snowball fight!" Before I could react, a cold mass of snow hit me smack in the face. There was a mix of surprise and laughter as I launched myself into the fray, retaliating with a barrage of my own. The laughter echoed, punctuated with cries of delight and mock indignation. The snowball fight escalated, with Ella staying light on her feet, ducking and dodging around trees. Liam and Sarah banded together, launching coordinated attacks while I desperately tried to hold my ground. I was losing track of time, blissfully wrapped in the moment, when finally the fight dissolved into laughter and gasps. We sat down in the snow, breathless and rosy-cheeked, our joy bubbling over into a comfortable silence as we caught our breath and gazed up at the dazzling blue sky. "I think we should keep going," Liam suggested after a few moments, glancing at his phone. "There's supposed to be a viewpoint up ahead. It's just a bit further." Ella, her enthusiasm barely contained, nodded vigorously. "Let's go. This day is perfect." We gathered our things and set off once more, weaving through the trees and tramping down the untouched snow. The world around us began to feel like a winter wonderland, each step taking us deeper into a picturesque scene straight out of a postcard. As we walked, however, I noticed the trail growing less defined. The previous markers began to fade away, hidden beneath the layers of fresh snow. Guys?" I looked back at my friends, noting their carefree expressions. "Are we sure we're on the right path?" Liam frowned slightly, pulling out his phone again. "It says we're still on course, but it looks different than I remember. The snow must have covered the markers." Our light-hearted mood began to shift as uncertainty filled the air. We exchanged worried glances, but shrugged it off, focusing instead on the breathtaking scenery. Deep down, however, I couldn't shake the feeling that we might be wandering further than intended. About 30 minutes later, the sun began to dip behind the mountains, painting the sky in rich hues of orange and pink. I stopped to catch my breath and glanced back at my friends, only to find them looking back at me with frowns. "I think we might be lost," I admitted reluctantly. Liam checked his phone again, growing more concerned. "The GPS isn't working properly. It's like we're off the map entirely." Ayla's smile faded, and Sarah pulled her scarf tighter around her neck, a hint of worry creeping into her eyes. "What do we do now?" Ella asked, glancing around as if the answer was hiding within the snow-laden trees. "Let's not panic," Liam said, his voice steady. "We just need to backtrack the way we came and look for some of the markers. It shouldn't take long to find our way." I nodded, but my heart raced at the thought of wandering in the cold. We turned around and began retracing our steps, but with each passing moment the path felt more elusive. The trees closed in around us as the light continued to fade. My mind started to race with fearful scenarios of being stuck in the wilderness overnight. Could we start a fire? Would we find our way back? I couldn't help but glance at Ella, her face slightly flushed, and I wondered if she felt the same fear bubbling inside her. Guys, it's okay, we'll find it, I heard Sarah say, and her reassuring tone calmed the furrows in my brow a notch. We walked a little further and stopped, realizing the trail we had followed was slowly becoming untraceable. The trees loomed overhead, their silhouettes flickering like shadows around us. Okay, this isn't good, I said, my voice betraying my attempts at calmness. Let's take a deep breath, Sarah suggested, and we took a moment, inhaling the icy air deeply, letting it fill our lungs before they released into the stillness around us. Listen, we can stay calm, right? We've gotten lost before, we can do this, Liam said, trying to lighten the mood again. Ella shrugged and sighed. Maybe it's just an adventure in disguise, a little extra bonding time. A small laugh escaped my lips. True, getting lost does come with the added bonus of our collective survival skills. With a renewed sense of togetherness, we huddled close, sharing our thoughts and mapping potential ideas, establishing a plan to remain in one place if it got too dark, and taking turns to scout in different directions. I think we should just keep walking until we find something familiar, Liam said finally, determination shining in his eyes. If we stay positive, it will all work out. So, we resumed our trek, employing all the tricks Liam had taught us about navigating through nature. We carved our footprints into the snow, following the faint outline of a path that seemed to vanish and reappear with each step. Time blurred together as laughter punctuated our worries. We shared stories to keep spirits high, and I was reminded that even in the depths of uncertainty, camaraderie shone bright. Minutes stretched into hours, and the sun sank behind the horizon, leaving us in twilight. The cold sank deeper into our bones, but we huddled close together, sharing hand warmers and other supplies. "This is the worst camping trip ever," Ella joked at one point, her laughter breaking the hush of the forest. "Hey, if this was a documentary, we'd be stars," I chimed in, thinking of all the times we'd shared our lives with each other and how those moments would play out in a relatable, wholesome film. "We can call it Lost But Not Alone," Sarah suggested with a grin, and the title hung in the air, an unspoken promise that together we would make it. Eventually, we came upon a small clearing. The moonlight broke through the trees, illuminating a soft mound of snow that beckoned to us. Falling back on our survival instincts, we set the area up as a temporary camp. We bundled up together under an extra blanket I found in my pack, and Liam started a small fire, using some previously stashed supplies. While the flames crackled, warmth spread through us, and our anxious hearts lightened. We dug into snacks, splitting the meager offerings among us. The bitter chill didn't reach us. We had each other, and the laughter echoed in the stillness as we shared stories about our childhood adventures, influences that shaped us, and the dreams we held for the future. "Life is strange, isn't it?" I murmured into the fire's glow, breaking the comfortable silence that had settled around us. I mean, here we are, lost in the snow, yet I feel more at home than I have in a long time. "We should do this more often," Ella said softly. "Sometimes getting lost leads to the best moments, don't you think?" "Exactly," Liam joined in, his voice filled with warmth. "It's moments like this that remind us why we need each other. The journey is always better when we face it together." As we sat together, bundled against the night, I felt gratitude swell within me. In the depths of uncertainty, I recognized that the bond we shared was unfaltering. Everything faded away, and in that moment of camaraderie, I simply felt happy. As I leaned back against a tree, I closed my eyes for a moment, absorbing the sounds of the crackling fire and the quiet hum of my friend's laughter. My heart felt full, filled with warmth that snuffed out the cold and brightened the darkness around us. Eventually, sleep began to tug at my eyelids, only to be interrupted by Sarah's soft voice. "I think I can see something." My eyes shot open as I straightened up. "What? Where?" Looking into the distance, she pointed, her expression lighting up with excitement. "Look, there is a cabin. I think it's a ranger's cabin." Everything shifted in an electrifying rush. Electricity spurred around the campfire as we scrambled to our feet. Ella was the first to leap up. "Are you serious?" "Yes, we have to check it out," Sarah urged, and with one final glance at the campfire, we all paraded across the snow towards the flickering light in the distance. Our tired legs propelled us forward, and within moments we found ourselves standing before a quaint little cabin, smoke curling from the chimney into the darkening sky. "Hello?" Liam called out, and his voice echoed slightly as the door creaked open to reveal an unmistakably welcoming face. A ranger appeared, skin ruddy from the cold, with a friendly demeanor. "Lost?" he asked with a grin, inviting us inside. Overcome with gratitude, we stepped in, the warmth wrapping around us like a cozy blanket. The ranger brought out hot cocoa, and we sank into chairs, basking in the afterglow of our misadventure. As I drank the rich warm chocolate, I couldn't help but think about how we had set out for a day of hiking and stumbled into a night of unforgettable memories. In that moment, as laughter filled the cabin and the flickering fire danced in the hearth, I knew that the journey, lost in the snow, had led us to the greatest adventure of all, the strength of friendship that flourishes in the face of uncertainty. We would walk away with a tale to tell, the kind that warms hearts and ignites adventurers' spirits, and while we might have wandered off the beaten path, we had never lost our way. The warmth of togetherness enveloped us as we lived in the moment, and that was all that mattered. As the night wrapped around us, I embraced the fullness of experience, the laughter, the warmth, and the promise of many more adventures to come. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. This will really help the channel grow. Always stay safe, but most of all, stay curious. Until next time.